Wake up, God damn it. Wake up, goddammit. Hey, welcome to the Taj Longino Show, where we educate through entertainment. Now, if you're new to the show and you haven't already, this is your first time, make sure you get on your phone right now on Google Play or iOS and download our official app, the Taj Longino Show. It's free. All you got to do is download, sign up with your email. Now, if you want to subscribe, we appreciate it. But if not, you can just sign up with your email and make sure that you turn on those post notifications so you know every time that we are going live, like we're about to do right now. And join into the Taj Longino Show. Now today, my guest, and I'm very excited about this one because I see some similarities with some brothers in the past who are doing what they're doing now, but they're doing it in the new age of streaming. They're doing it in the new age where things are different. And that's what we're going to talk about. But right now, I want to welcome the Green brothers to the show and talk about their show, the URBANS. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks for having us on.
Hey, appreciate it. Now, we was just talking about, I was making sure I had you guys' name right. So we got Rasheed Green and we got Saeed. So I messed it up already.
Saeed.
Saeed, okay. One of the things that I loved about when I read up on you guys was the fact that, your brothers, family, and you're doing something together, and I always applaud that, right? So we had some family business in my family that we all work together to try and make sure that this thing wins. So I just salute that right off top. So I want to start there. Your background, and then what made the twin brothers want to come together and say, you know what? Let's jump into some film, man. Let's see. Let's jump into some film and do some things and show that we can be creative and entertaining as well.
Well, we always loved storytelling. And back in the early or the later part of the 2010s, somewhere around 2007, 2008, we was working with an artist. This was music, and a video was made for, and we just wanted to see what we can do to kind of spice it up a little bit, do a couple of things, and because we were promoting the artists, and so we took it and uploaded and started to edit it, and realized that was something that we really liked. And so after that, soon afterwards, we decided to go ahead and kind of like take it a little more serious, or a lot more serious, and start to invest into the equipment. This was years later, and yeah, that's really what it was. We were always in the entertainment. We were always interested in writing, but this gave us an opportunity to write stories, which is a lot different, than music, but to write stories. And we started to film, learn the equipment, and that's really how it started.
So let me get this straight. I just want to make sure, because it sounded like you took the similar route that I did. When you started getting serious about this craft, did y'all go to school for it? Or is it something that you learned? You just telling me, and y'all learned it on your own, and then you just, when you felt comfortable, you said, okay, let's try it? Or was it something that you guys actually went to school for?
No, we bought the equipment. We just read everything up about it, man. The thing is that once we kind of pulled away from the music industry, it took us a while to get to understand how to make the music business work really in our favor. And so we weren't really paying as much attention as we should have. So when we started we got into the filmmaking, we had learned how to learn, really, to be honest with you. And so when we got the equipment, we learned it back and forth. YouTube was my biggest friend.
Yeah, hey.
One thing we did that was really beneficial to us is that, we would do things like watch a movie and then look at a scene and just frame by frame, just stop it and just look at it and say, what is it about this scene that's making this? What's making this work? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Making it professional.
What's the colors in the background? What kind of fabrics do they have on? What's the difference? The distance between the actors? What's the skin tone like? everything, what color the walls, everything we was looking at, we was really examining everything that was within those four corners, and that's something that we had never done before, and that really that kind of let us know like we're really into this. And when we filmed the first, we had a science fiction short that when we presented it to people, I mean, the response that we got, they were just kind of looking at it like, how did y'all do this with y'all's equipment? They thought it was a major production.
Major production, yeah.
It looked like film.
And we took it to France. And the people in France, you know, we bought a booth over at MIPCOM. It's this big convention where everybody around the world comes in to it's really where buying and trading and licensing products, film and television all around the world. They all congregate the licensed material all around the world. So that's how you see Seinfeld in France or Seinfeld in Japan. They do all of that negotiating and stuff there. So we took our science fiction short there, and we had a TV just playing, and then people were just walking by and they were just stopping, and they were looking, and we had some really big name people that kind of stopped in. We didn't know that they were big names,
right?
Because the big name people are not in front of the camera, really. They're
right.
So you don't know who these people are until they leave and you get their business card, and then you start looking them up. You're like, he was just here. I was just talking to him for 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So we realized that what we were doing was of a caliber that these people were looking for. You know what I'm saying? But that was just the visual. One thing we didn't have at that point was the actual script. So scripts is what they're really, without a script, you don't have anything. You just have a nice looking product. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we weren't able to really jump from there to the, you know, the big leagues, because it's writing is what their stories is what Hollywood is always paying for. It's the stories, not the cinematographers, not the directors. It's the stories that they have to continuously recycle.
You know, I know the Urbans is available on Tubi, right? Everybody's on Tubi now. Tubi's hot right now. One of the things that I do like when I watched Urbans is the quality, because if you look on Tubi sometimes, the sound effects on the guns, the you know, when they're recording sound, the sound sounds like they're at a distance using the cell phone or something. You know what I'm talking about. You ain't gotta, you know, I know you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, one thing I do love is good quality. You could tell when somebody's using a HD 4K camera versus a 720. You know what I mean? Something that's old, like you can see the difference, and quality matters. And sometimes quality is what draw people in to the show and to the story and to the movie or what have you, just based on the quality alone. And you guys definitely you know, nail all three to me: sound and both sound and quality.
Thank you.
Well, we had ours is actually ready for TV. You know, the quality of ours, it's on not just Tubi, that's one of the platforms,
right?
But also Roku, Amazon Prime, and now the Bounce Networks, their streaming app, Brown Sugar, it should be out there on there pretty soon. I think it's already on Film Rise. So that Tubi has a lot of members there, so it's like a store. You just want to be able to put it in as many different places as you can. So the Urbans is in a variety of places, and it might even be on TV soon. That's something that our distributors are working out. But yeah, Tubi has a lot of, they have this, you know, the material out there that's you know, whatever. But they also owned by Fox.
Right.
They also have a lot of quality material as well. So it's an outlet for us, because it's a lot of people that have that app.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up. You brought up Fox. And that's something nobody, you noticed, Fox hasn't really let it be known that they own Tubi. Nobody knows until you just said it. And I just looked it up 2 days ago. I wanted to know myself, who owns Tubi?
You know, man, it's you know the real funny thing about all of this with the Tubi talk is that Tubi is just a landing spot. It's a platform. It's a place where people can pick up the product. It's almost like when you think about a record store, right?
Right.
Tubi is not really much different than just a record store, but people are attaching Tubi to the product, and they don't do that with record stores. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have a record, an album in a record store, no one says, "Oh, this is what Turtles was." You know what I'm saying? Oh, this is a Turtle product, or this is what's the other Tower Records? This is a top. Like Tubi is just a place to distribute the products, just to make it available to people. But I guess the fact that it's attached, somehow it's attached to the.
And I think it's because most of the content is urban, right? So we feel like we personalize our stuff when it's out. We feel like it's ours. So maybe people feel like because most of the stuff on there is us, maybe they think it's owned by us. Maybe people feel like it's being produced by, because like Netflix even produces some stuff. So maybe they're thinking along those lines.
I think Tubi's going to get into doing. I'm not exactly sure yet. They do have what do you call it? Their personal content, the exclusive content. They have that as well, like the Netflix or whatever. But yeah, the one thing about Tubi is that it's one of the places where the independent filmmakers have an opportunity to display their material, and the other platforms don't really have that as much. And it's a little easier if you have an aggregator to get it on a place like Tubi to put it in the stores. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to have the high CPM rates, the viewership or whatever, but it is giving you opportunity. Now, I don't know how long that's going to last though, because once you get the audience in, it might change there. But as of now, it's a place for independent filmmakers to put their material out.
I mean, it's hard. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. I watch Tubi every day. I'm watching something new on there, and usually what I do, I'll just find something random. I'll hit it and I'll just watch that and then get hooked on it if it's good or not and move on to, what I mean? Like it gives you that opportunity to just keep watching different and come across new actors, new directors, new stuff that you like and don't like. So, but yeah, it's interesting that I found out that Fox owns Tubi. That was kind of funny to me when I heard about that. So I want to take a step back. You said you were getting out of the music industry. What made you want to transition from music to movies? Because, money can be made in music videos and production and things of that nature. So what turned you almost away from the industry and onto the TV side?
We've always wanted to be the owners of the product. And really back in that time, it's not like today where you can blow something. It's things go viral and stuff like that. People weren't really into it wasn't easy to make stuff. It wasn't easy to blow up a product without the finances. So, but back then we always wanted to be a record company or something. We wanted to be something like in that capacity. But we didn't really have that much money, man. I mean, it's hard to get stuff off the ground when you don't have the finances, and if you're not getting investors and things like that, it's like it was really tough. But once we started getting our money up, we kind of pulled away a little bit from the music, and then we kind of focused on our business. And then once we focused on our business, we started to get our money up. But then we were kind of looking at the land. And then another thing you have to remember that at that time, like Napster and all that stuff started to.
Right.
And we were like, in that whole thing, no one even knew how you were gonna. Music suddenly became free. You know what I'm saying? So what we started to do, once we got our money back up, we had already kind of played around with that artist. We were looking at it and we were like, you know what, man? Filmmaking, we've always loved it, and it's really just a long song, really, with visuals.
Yeah.
You're telling a story, and you get to keep people's attention for a long period of time. It's a lot more detail to it. People can see you, they can feel everything, they can see the environment. For us, really, it's kind of it's more senses. It's attacking more senses. You know what I'm saying?
I think,
and we were better at it.
and I like when people started coming up with these drama series, like like Power and Snowfall and things of that nature. It gives you a chance to extend the story, because it's hard to put an entire story into a 2-hour, 3-hour movie, right? When you still might have ideas out there, you still want to put this in there. So the series are probably now going to become more popular than the actual movies, because people have an opportunity to expand on your creative, on your ideas and your creativity, and it lets you do some things with the, more things with the script. So I think that's going to start taking over. What are your thoughts on that? I think that's going to start taking over, like the popularity of going to the movies. People want to see more drama. They want more. Like, I was watching something the other day, and I'm like, when's it coming back out? And now here's the other part of my question. That's also the downfall I see with being a part of some of the streaming now, because you used to remember we was kids, right? Martin come on, the next season's coming, regardless of what goes on, rain, sleet, snow, cold weather. Martin was coming back on that next season. Now you run into a situation where seasons may take another 2 years. I know I watched a show where it's been 3 years. So talk about a little bit about that as well, the challenges of keeping them seasons coming on a consistent basis like they used to when you were watching them on like national TV.
Well, I think it's series and movies. That's going to pretty much stay kind of like the same. There's always been space for television, for movies and series. I don't think that people are going to become any more hungry for series over movies or whatever. This depends on how good the actual movie is or whatever. Yeah.
But you can also don't forget you keep movies going.
Yeah, you
can.
Yeah, Star Wars been around for 40 years.
Yeah, I probably only watched 1 or 2 of them, right? But Blade 1, 2, and 3, I saw all those. Sometimes when you keep movies going, it is good, and then sometimes repeated movies don't do so well. But for some reason, drama series or comedy shows, you want to see more.
Well, a movie, the one thing about a movie is that a movie pretty much has to come to a conclusion within that space that you're watching.
Yeah, you're right.
So an hour and a half or 2 hours, it has the first, second, third act. This and that or whatever, there's a problem, and then by the end, it's solved. You clap, you leave. That's how movies are set up. Series are set up to where it's just a clip. It leaves you kind of hanging at the end, where you follow people's lives. So they both have a space, and they're not really infringing on one another. And I don't think one is gonna ever replace the other.
Movies you can't really wait to see. Like when people will sit around and wait 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years.
Avatar.
Yeah, exactly. And it came back out, made another 2 billion, 3. So that anticipation building is actually a good thing of people, you starving them of that product for a long period of time. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on your audience. Mm-hmm. But like my brother said, I don't see that's always been a thing. I don't think series are gonna ever take the place of a movie, because
we can do both. Like look at Star Wars. Star Wars has the movies that come out, and then it also has like the Mandalorian in the series. So you can play around with them different kind of ways.
Because like the last movie I saw, that I went and saw every last one that came out was John Wick.
Okay, yeah.
I saw the recent one.
Yeah. John Wick was cold, you know what I mean? And then in 4, they just got to doing everything. It was just so unrealistic at that point. I said, yeah, just kill the man to get it over with. It's just too much going on. But No, now as far as like what we were talking, when I was talking about people repeat, being able to come back that next season. What are the challenges with that when you're doing it independent, being able to come back that next season like you plan to?
Well, if you're completely independent, it's a lot of moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not like a Disney, so it's to make everything work at the same time. I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult, so it's not going to be the same thing. When a Disney, when these big networks make a series, they don't always make series with the anticipation of recouping the money right away. So you even have shows like Gilligan's Island that's still making money. Sometimes it takes a long time. Sometimes it takes time to recoup the money. And if you got deep enough pockets, you can withstand that time. Because these shows make money over time. They make money over time. It's not always an immediate impact. So when you're someone that doesn't have deep pockets like that, you don't always have the luxury to sit back and just wait for all of the money. It may take you 2 years to recoup. It may take 3. You may never recoup it. So that's the difference. Do you have the staying power? Do you have the pockets deep enough to go on and move to the next season if you haven't even recouped from the first season?
Okay.
That could be difficult, and then you also have to factor in when you were mentioning something like Martin. When you think about a show like Martin, the expenses are going to be low because they're shooting basically all of it in that house. And then they have maybe like the bar where Big Shirley is. They have like 2 or 3 different main locations that the radio station that they have 2 or 3 main locations where you can come in and pretty much, like in Sanford and Son and what's happening, everything was shot there. You know what I'm saying? Right. At those houses or whatever. So when it comes to something like the Urbans, we have we're shooting in different locations all the time. And we also have a lot of different characters that are showing up in every episode. So it can be a challenge, especially if you're not able to just sit back and wait for the money to come in, then what do you do for the next season? Do you spend it all again and then hope that it just comes in? So it has its challenges. So you have to understand that if you put in X amount of dollars, you might not get that whole windfall just at once. You might put in $100,000 for X amount of episodes. It might only earn 3, 4, 5, or even 2 or 3,000 a month, 4,000 a month, 10,000 a month. You might get it in like that. So
until you start building your audience. See,
right, until you start building your audience. Then when you start to build a catalog, you have more and more episodes. Then that's when the money starts to really start to roll in.
Okay.
You have to look at we're the record company. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're the producers and the financiers. So we do things like sit back and look at analytics. So we don't just put the show out and just sit back and say, all right, let's just see what happens. You have to look at data. You have to look at projections. You have to look and see, okay, we just put this ad out. How did the people respond to this ad? And all of that analytics can give us a projection of how the show will do. If you put it out and you put an ad out and it reached 1 million people, then you're getting this amount of money back. You can say, okay, it only reached 1 million when we got 365 million, 375 million people in the United States. You have to use calculations to kind of figure it out. And once you get those numbers, even if you haven't recouped your money, you can still look at the analytics, and the analytics can tell you if moving forward will be worth it.
Okay. Now let's talk about the Urbans. We didn't talk about everything. We didn't talk about the industry, but we talked about the background. I want to know, Scott, you know what? Before we even get into that, I want to talk about you two guys, your relationship, your bond, your brotherhood. You know, how you were raised up, and how was your relationship? Because family, like I said earlier, family's important to me. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the dynamics of family, because family can't always work together. So when was the first time you two worked together, and how did that kind of just move? What happened in that moment where y'all kept going forward with each other? Like, you know what, everything we do, let's do it together.
That was our whole life.
When we were born.
I know you twins, but but
no, it starts then.
Yeah.
you build a relationship from the very moment that you realize that there's somebody next to you. And
Yes,
that
we always work together in some capacity. In our first business, we worked together. When we were dealing with music, we worked together. We always were there and support each other. We always got along. So if you don't get along with your family, your brothers and sisters or whatever, it's not gonna work. So I don't care if you're a twin or not. That doesn't really matter. The McDonald's brothers weren't twins, you know. It's a lot of brothers out there that make it. If you get along, then you're gonna be all right. And we always got along, so it wasn't a thing to us,
It's
so
much easier when you have. It's much easier when you have a teammate.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. What is before we get into, I got one more question before we get into the actual show. What's the end goal for the brothers, for the Green brothers? What's the end goal? Is it movies? Is it big production? Is it shifting to something different down the road? What is the end goal for the Green brothers?
Well, the Green brothers.
Yeah, Green Company
Pictures. Yeah, the Urbans is just a show underneath Green Company Pictures. So the Urbans is the first thing out.
Right.
But it's not what we are. So we have many scripts, and movies and TV is mainly what we focus on. The next thing we're going to do right now, especially if this strike doesn't really,
we were gonna get into that, I guess.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into that.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We're working on a script right now. We got other scripts, but sometimes you have to look at the environment and see what people are responding to. And some scripts you have might go on the back burner, but we're working on one right now that we're really, really excited about.
All right. Well, since you brought it up, let's go ahead and knock that out now. The strike, how was that affecting you guys, positive and negative? Because sometimes some good can come out of bad.
Yeah, well, as far as bad, since it just started on Friday, it hasn't had too much of an effect because we were going to start the film in probably around August or September. Now, it has an effect on us because the Urbans is a SAG project, and a lot of the actors that we had were SAG actors. Like we have people like Clifton Powell in there, Rodney Perry, Bernadette Stannis, even Alfred Lewis, the young guy. He's on Disney now. He was the young guy that was with us earlier.
Langley Cornwell.
These are SAG actors and a lot of other actors, and you can't have a Clifton come back in right now and film because that's going to be SAG. I don't know. You're not supposed to anyway. Right. But since the Urbans does have established actors or whatever, we're going to have to see how everything feels and see what goes on with it, see how long the postponement is how long it's going to be postponed or whatever before they get that straightened out. But in the meantime, we're going to start filming full length anyway.
Okay. All right. So now,
so like you were saying earlier, we might skip a year on the Urbans. It looks like that's what we're going to do.
Just because of the strike and not knowing how long it's going to last.
Not solely because of that, but that plays a big part.
Right. Yeah. How and you don't have to answer if you don't want to. What is your thoughts on the whole strike? Because now they have a publicist strike, they have a music writer strike. People write songs for other people. It's strikes popping up all over the entertainment industry right now. I'm pretty sure media is next, right? I'm pretty sure there'll be a media strike here soon. What are your thoughts on the whole thing?
Well, that's gonna be. I'm gonna tell you. From my understanding, it's going to be kind of tough because some of the margins in the streaming arena, from my understanding, are razor thin. And so, especially when you have the big companies like the Disneys and a lot of the last few projects that they put out haven't really done as well as they wanted to. But it's going to be rough for them to find common ground. Eventually, they're going to have to. But then you you have the writers that are saying, well, how do we have access to the streaming numbers? The writers and the actors, because you get residuals based on things like that. And then if the streaming services are saying, well, you can't have access to that, and then the writers are saying, well, okay, well, let's have a third party. And then the streaming services are saying, well, the third parties aren't reliable, and you can't see our numbers, then you're gonna have a problem. So both sides, this is gonna be rough. Because if you're not getting the numbers for the streams or how the stream's working or whatever, then how do you determine which is supposed to get paid? And so the writers are they're gonna keep drilling at that. So how do you solve that problem? And then the streaming services aren't saying that they're not making the margins that they're supposed to. So it's gonna be, we might have to sit down for a little while, man. You might want to get used to those Tubi movies.
Yeah,
man.
It's they're playing on a high level over there, man. Like the what we're doing over here in the Urbans and Green Company pictures, this is not on that. This is nowhere near, like what. A lot of times things happen and you really don't know what's happening. You know what I'm saying? So when you get to the top levels like that, these people are publicly traded, stocks, and like you don't really. It's so deep that we don't really understand it all the way. And we're not filming right now because we finished the episode, and right now we're mostly doing marketing and promotion. So we don't see any effect right now, not us. But if we were to start to film again, like my brother was saying, we got a lot of people in ours that's actually SAG people, and hopefully, if we decide to move forward with the Urbans this year, that'll come to a close. But if not, man, we're about to start working on this. We're gonna start working on the feature anyway.
Yeah, which y'all are gonna love. We're not gonna talk too much about it, but it's a comedy mixed with it's a killer comedy. Let me just put it out to you like that. People love our comedy style, and then when we mix that with the style of the Campbell Traders, Gangsters and Robots, which is a film that my brother and I did. We're gonna mix those two together. We're gonna come up with something that the people are gonna love. And just to go back on the strike thing, that AI is gonna be a problem as well.
Yeah, and to me, we all know that technology is going to be some type of a downfall for human society, period, because we rely too much on it, right? And AI, like I created a whole website, even though I fell into it, right? I created a whole website with AI. It took me 30 seconds. Like it literally didn't take no time to make this website. Was already just, all I had to do was just drop the links in. So it has its pros and cons, but it means it's more cons than pros because you can't replace man. Whenever you get done with it, they can write scripts, they can come up with social media posts, but they don't have this. They can't just be naturally creative and think on the fly when you're out there directing and you see something and they just can't change it, right? That's something you can't do. AI just can't do. So
I don't disagree with you on that.
Nah.
There's a human element that's going. I think it's always going to be a human element that's going to be needed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You can't replace.
Right.
You can't replace a man. Whenever you get done, you could try all you want just to save money. It's all about. To me, this is all about just saving money. They're trying to make more money because they deserve it. And the companies are trying to save money because they feel like we got AI now. We don't need you.
Yeah, it's always going to be that you can probably use the AI if you're writing scripts or whatever to assist you. That's really it, to really assist you. But that human element, how does the computer know how a person would say the words?
Right.
How's it going to convey?
Like if I'm writing when we write. And we have somebody in mind, or if I'm gonna write something for the character Jay Whitman, or my brother's gonna write something, if you're writing for another person, you're not just writing something that's funny, because it's not going to be funny if everybody says it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You have to, if you know who the person is, you be like, well, when that person says this, it's going to be funny because of the way that they say it.
Correct.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
because it's two different, have different deliveries.
Right. So it's things like that, and just understanding the human experience. You know, the human experience. Why do people laugh at certain things and then other people don't? You know, when it was the same joke. You know, why does it change from region to region? You know, why is it funny here and it's not funny there? Why is if you're black it's funny, if you're white it's not? It's a complex thing. So without being the human or the person within the experience, then how do you know who you're reaching at? They might have algorithms that can help figure things out, but I think that if you're doing something that's unique, then you're always going to be separated from something that can be written down or that can be in a generated world or program. It's always going to be a difference.
All right, now let's talk about the urbans. I could stay on here with you guys for a long time. You guys are cool, and I just like dialogue, especially about the entertainment business and TV and movies. I got some more questions, but I want to get into the show. So the urbans, when the urbans first dropped, or when you first thought about the idea, why the name the urbans?
My brother had written down a bunch of names,
Mm-hmm.
and we both written down names, and we were just going through them. And then when he stopped on that one, he was just saying them. Sounds like the urban, so and so. Oh, go back to that one. What was that? What did you just say? The urban. Like, I like that. He's like, I like that too. Because it was kind of, it condensed, and it's like it said a lot in a small sentence. You know what I'm saying? We still have to convey a lot of that to the public, but it's like the urbans. All right, it has the word urban in there. It gives a feel of it. You know, it's not. You're not talking about Wall Street.
It's catchy too.
Huh?
It's catchy to me. When I first read it, it's like the urbans. Oh, okay.
It has an S on the end of urban.
Yeah.
Like, what's that?
What's this about? You know, so I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And it's not what people think as well. Sometimes when you hear urban, you're thinking one thing, but the urbans isn't really like when I think urban, I've always thought like city. I always thought that it includes like Midtown Atlanta. It can include golf. It can include ripped pants. It can include the hood. So
heavily populated is the original meaning of it.
Yeah.
It lost its meaning. It got to a point where the original urban doesn't mean black people over here, street stuff. That was never the meaning. It always meant highly populated areas. And then what happened was, in real estate and stuff like that, they started to kind of like try to give code words to describe certain things. And so that's how it turned into urban. So some people are like, well, it has a negative connotation to it. Like, not originally. You know, it's just because someone takes something and tries to make it negative, it never had that. That was never the design of the word. So just because some real estate developers got together and decided that they want to describe an area that you may not want to go to, that's not going to change the definition of the word.
Right.
We bring it back to what it. We're gonna redefine it back to what it was. But when you see the urbans, you forget about street and crime, because you see that that's not really what it is, and it doesn't feel like that when you watch the urbans. But it has that street in it. It has the excellent actors. We got some real heavy hitters in there, like the Rodney Perrys, the Clifton Powells, you know, like you said, the Langley Cornwells. It's well crafted, and it's not flat comedy. It's not one dimensional. It's a thinking type of thing. A lot of times in the urbans, there's a problem going on, and you're kind of going through like this little roller coaster, this experience with the actors in it, and then it climaxes and it comes to an end, and you feel satisfied. at the end because something was resolved, and Jay is dealing with problems in the Urbans that need some sort of resolution. So it's not just flat comedy to whereas, for example, like the actor has his ex-girlfriend's boyfriend knock on the door, and then now he's all jealous, and it's not like that. You know what I mean? It's more complicated things that's going on in the Urbans. Sort of like the way that you would think that a Jordan Peele would do something, whereas it's thought provoking. It's thought provoking opposed to just like a one flat dimensional situation that's trying to come to a point of closure at the end. The Urbans is a ride, and it has thriller. It's thrilling. It's suspenseful, and it's funny all at the same time. So it's very, very different. So make sure that you go and check out the Urbans as soon as you can.
Yeah, the Urbans. I know you said it's available. Now I know it's available on multiple platforms. It was Tubi, and what was the other ones?
We got Tubi, all Roku devices, Amazon Prime. Now, Amazon Prime is going to be a download, but I think you can get the whole season. I think for $2.99, as long as it's not high definition. $2.99, I think.
I hope not.
I might be wrong. I think it might be $6.99 or $7.99.
I hope it's an episode. I got to go back and look now.
I think the whole season you can get for $6.99 or $7.99 or something like that.
I tell you what, when we get off here, I'm gonna go. I got Amazon Prime. I'm going to go look.
I don't think it's $2.99. But anyway, Roku, Amazon Prime, FilmRise, and then Bounce Network has a streaming service called Brown Sugar. Now, I don't think that it's on Brown Sugar right now. In FilmRise, it might be on. I have to double check. But right now, Tubi, Roku, and Amazon Prime are your best bets.
When somebody watches the Urbans, what's going to separate? What can they get from watching the Urbans? What kind of, I want to say, like comedy, or what can they get watching the Urbans that they're not going to get watching another comedy show that's already out there right now? What's separating the Urbans?
Well, for one, it's got a lot of deadpan humor, which is not something that's really shown a lot in our community, really. Mm-hmm. So I think deadpan is more like it's coincidental type of like it's a different type of comedy. What we do, the type of comedy that we do, is not designed. It's not designed to make you laugh. It's really like we don't go out our way to make you laugh. It's not physical comedy or anything like that. Basically, it's the irony in what's going on that you find funny. So we have comedians that are on the Urbans that you never know are comedians because they're not performing like comedians on the show. Like when you watch a regular comedy show, or when you watch most sitcoms, if you see a comedian come on the show, they're gonna pretty much act like how they act on their set. You're gonna come on and be who they are, or like they are. But in the Urbans, you'll have people, the comedians that's hilarious. They come on and you'll never know that they're comedians because they're not doing their set on the show. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's the comedy comes in the lines and what's happening and the irony and what's taking place. So it's that which makes it special. It's
well, circumstantial.
It's circumstantial. And we don't. It's not obvious. If you were to turn the television, if you were to turn the volume down on it, you probably wouldn't know that it's a comedy.
You know what? You're right, because I watched a little bit of. You're right, and I can see what you're saying on that.
Yeah. It's and we have actually complete stories with the episodes, so. It's really like a somewhat of a, I'm not gonna say a movie because it's not moving that much, but it's really condensed into stories that are more on the clever side. It's clever. It's a lot of it's some detective type situations where you're trying to figure out, like, I don't understand what's going on right here, and then it goes further and further. Like, I'm starting to understand what's going on. Then at the end, you're like, Yeah, okay, now that was tight. I like the way that they did that. And so we don't have in our community, especially in the Black community, we don't have where's our Seinfeld? You know what I'm saying? Where's our Big Bang Theory? Where's our The Office? You have a few people that are out there that are doing it well to me. Atlanta was done well. I hadn't seen the other seasons, but I knew the first one by Donald Glover. That was a breath of fresh air because it was thought provoking. You know, coming from our community, and we're the most intelligent people on the planet. You know what I mean? So, but it's not really reflected. It's not really reflected in the material that you're seeing about Black people as much as it should be. Nowhere near that.
I definitely agree with that. I mean,
where's the thinking? Right. So where's the thinking coming out of our community? Where do we see that on film? That's why everybody went crazy when Jordan Peele came out with Get Out. It's like, you know, they were like, they were fascinated by it, but Black people, we can do that, you know, but you don't see it. But in the other communities, you see a lot of material like that, where it's a whole lot of different things going on that's not really focusing in on something like race. It's thought-provoking, it's intelligent. You can tell that the person, whoever wrote it, is really a smart person. And then when you don't see that as much. But when something like a Get Out comes, people are fascinated by it, but we're able to do that type of material.
Yeah, and you know, nothing moves without us.
Yeah.
You know, nothing.
The culture is, once Black people say is I don't know if this is cool anymore. It's not cool anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
The last thing I remember that went away quick was the dab. Remember the dab? Everybody was dabbing for a few seconds, and after that, it was gone. Once we get rid of something, it's a wrap.
Yeah, we determine whether it's hot or not.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Especially if we're talking about rhythm or whatever. But once we say it's not hot, it's out of here.
It's out of here. And so, I think the kids today, the new generation, they really, I know we have our views on them, but they really thirst for that information. And they want something to challenge them. You know what I mean? I just think the message comes across wrong to them. So if you got a show like the Urbans, who's giving you comedy, but they're also making you think.
You have to be, you have to, I think the trick with them, with the younger generation, is you have to package it. You have to make the package appealing to them. You have to make the package appealing to them. And then when they go see what's behind the package, then you introduce the brain to them. But if you put the brain on the forefront, you might have resistance there.
You
know, the Trojan horse. You have to.
Yeah, it's so much sensory overload with what people are seeing now that it's so much shock value and it's hard to capture people's attention. And when you're making really intelligent material, it's not based on an immediate excitement. You know what I'm saying? It's not an immediate thing. When you're making intelligent stuff, it's not going to be that immediate dopamine hit. So how do you package something to whereas it looks like it's going to be that immediate dopamine hit, and then when you get behind it, you start to watch it, it starts to suck you in. It sucks you in. It's like next thing you know, you're in this beautiful world that you're not used to seeing. You're like, okay, you know, this is stimulating, but you got to get past that first line of defense.
Yeah, I think, you know, and I think we were talking about this offline, you know, people, I hate to say this, but ignorance become the new intelligence. You know, ignorance has become the new intelligence. So people are running towards that thing. And, you know, there's a percentage of us out there who, hey, we still want that intelligence first. Like, we're not looking, people don't know how to, I think social media has played a huge role in that as well, right? So, I like what you said. The way you package it up is definitely the way to draw the kids in. Now, I got this question for you. When it comes to marketing and promoting in 2023, because things have changed since COVID. A lot of things have changed since COVID, how people market, how they sell product, how they present a product to the public. What have been some of the challenges on getting the word out about the Urbans? Or has everything been pretty good about how you market and promote, and you face any challenges in that regard?
Like
Now,
what you just said.
we're taking a crash. It was a crash course for us. But one of the challenges with the urbans is that if you look at the poster, you hit a name. You don't know you don't know immediately what it is. And so from a marketing standpoint, we have to go out there and we have to really educate the people on what the urbans is. If you're packaging, if you have a poster and it's a guy on there and he's doing like this with gold teeth, and then you have a woman turned around with her behind showing, and then you have some dollar bills spread on the ground, and then the title of the movie is the big hit or the big robbery. Like you already know.
Yeah.
You already know what that is, and it markets itself. All you gotta do is show it to the people, and they're like, "Oh, I want to see somebody get robbed. I want to see somebody shake their boot." Like you already. So things like that are much easier to market than something like the urban. So we have to actually go out there and educate people and let people know what the urbans is, and we have to keep trying little tricks. We wrapped our Sprinter van, pulling a trailer with the urbans. We just put out a post. Well, the post just came out. It went viral. As a matter of fact, it came out a few days ago on Ball Alert. You know, Ball Alert is a huge platform. It's been out just a couple of days. It's over 100,000 views right now. So you can go to Ball Alert and check that out. But it's gaining and it's gaining. So things like that, we're looking at and we're seeing what's working and what's not. A couple of Ball Alert a month ago, we had something that went viral on there again, and it was something that was controversial. I don't know if you saw it or whatever. But
I didn't see it, but I'll trust me. I will go check it out. I'm gonna go look at it.
Yeah, it went
crazy. He's talking about the one we had a month ago was really like the comment section was lit. We had like 1,600 comments on it because it was something that was controversial. Now this recent one wasn't controversial, so it it's at 100 and something thousand now. But it's the type of a post that doesn't normally put up numbers. You know, a lot of stuff that comes on Ball Alert, you know, if it's a lot of them put up 300, 400, 500,000, 600,000. There was one that I just saw, buddy had a girl on stage and he was hitting at her or whatever. It's at like 1.5 right now. So our 100,000 for the category it's in is really, really big, but it goes back to what you were saying. It's about the attention. And if you look at the actual post that's on there that's doing those numbers, it's not really like, if you look at it, it's not going to give you a good idea of what the urbans is, but it will make you go watch it. So once you go watch it, then you'll be like, okay, this is a little different than what the post was. Because our post isn't the same as what the show is, really. So
we have to figure out different ways to market and see what's working or whatever to get people familiar with the urbans. Because unlike a major network can put out something and you don't even have to really know what it is. But if they're telling you that it's good, hey, go watch this show. This is about some friends or this and that or whatever. They have the power to present it in front of you, and then people start to watch it. Whereas us, we don't have that power like that to have a whole large number of people. So we have to go out there and do different things and different tricks.
Yeah, I'm on here right now. I was looking for it. I'm like, you know what? Let me go look at this right now.
They
got so many posts on here.
If you go to the reels, if you click the middle grid, it has the grid. Then you go to the next one. It has the reels up there. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I'm on the.
Yeah, if you click if you're looking at it, if you go to the reels is what.
I'm on the reels now. My stuff is buffering. I don't know why my stuff is buffering right now. My phone buffering.
You see how this little grid right here?
Yeah, I know what it says. Yeah.
So if you go to the reels in the middle, right?
Yeah, the reels are in the middle.
With a one, let me tell you what row we on. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're on the 5th row. By the lady with the big breast.
And for some reason, like if you see my stuff is buffering. You see it buffering at the bottom? Mm-hmm. I don't know why it's doing that.
Yeah, we're on the 5th row. We're by the big woman that's sipping on some sort of a drink. You know,
I'm gonna try to check it out later. I wanted to see if I can check it out now, but I'm gonna check that out later on. I want to see that because it's interesting how and now your post, you said you put up one a month ago and then you put up one recently. The momentum for that post from a month ago is probably what got your post, the new post. You said it was in a category that it probably shouldn't have did those numbers, but it's probably the momentum from the post from a month ago.
Well, the post that's out now is something that we put that was put up with our assistants. The last post, that was just that came out of nowhere. You know, that post came out of nowhere, whatever. But that one had the internet lit.
I'm gonna definitely check it out.
Yeah, that had the internet lit. We had over 1,500 and something. We had the whole internet divided. And it was
I think we got some family members that's not talking to us right now.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was about hair textures and weave and things like that. You know, so
is it? You know, I don't want to get off the subject on the show, but it's amazing how people are. Are you surprised at how sensitive people are? Even grown folks. I know they try to tie everything to the young generation, but there's people our age and even older that is addicted to social media and has allowed social media to alter their way of thinking.
I mean, I grew up in a neighborhood. My brother and I grew up in a neighborhood where you had to go out and fend with the other kids. Like, there was nobody there to really save you like that.
You're right.
If somebody was talking about you, janking on you, if your neck wasn't long enough, if your ears were bigger than everybody else's, if your nose was too small, that was just something if you wanted to go outside and play,
you had to handle that.
You had to deal with that. And if you had a situation with some other kid or whatever, you had to solve it. So I grew up having to fix, you know, the problems or whatever and deal with them.
Do they still fight in school? Dude, when we was in school, it was fights all the time.
Yeah,
I don't even know
Not that that's okay. Not that that's okay.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's a different time period where you have to handle stuff very differently.
But sometimes the fight ain't bad, man. It's okay to say that because sometimes you have to stand up for yourself. Sometimes you have to go the extra mile. Sometimes you got that bully who just ain't gonna leave you alone. You know, let's say you in class and you got that one guy who's good at jokes and you ain't good at them. Well, guess what? I know I got something I am good at.
One of the things, and to focus in on what you said, one of the things that I think a lot of people don't understand is that if you're not taught to fend for yourself, that might seem okay between the ages of birth and 12th grade or whatever. But when you have to get out in the real world, you're not gonna have that security like that. Yeah. So when you go work somewhere and you're a grown man and you've been used to society coming and stepping in and say, don't touch him, don't bully, this and that or whatever. And you're out in the real world, you can't go grab society when you're supposed to be a man and you have your woman behind you trying to figure out how you're gonna solve this problem, and you up there saying, well, he's not supposed to be like that's not the way, that's not real life. It's not. It's always gonna have
you're gonna lose your woman behind that too.
Yeah, you're gonna always you're gonna have bullies are not gonna go away. It's either you learn to deal with them when you're younger, or you have them control you when you're older. There's no real way around it. I think that it's human nature for the person that thinks that they're dominant to exercise that and see how dominant they can become.
And now let's translate that into the world of the entertainment business. It's a lot of bullies in them rooms. Right? There's a lot of bullies in the rooms when it comes to negotiating, when it comes to contracts, when it comes to people. It's not just one type of bully, the physical bully. You know what I mean? There's all types of bullies on the job. There's bullies in college. There's bullies in business. So people got to understand that. So I like what you just said, because you got to know how to handle people, period.
When you work, when you're working underneath, you know, if you're in Hollywood and you're dealing with certain companies or whatever, you know, you're under their umbrella. So I'm not saying that that's not good or bad. What I'm saying is that when you're in a position like that, you know, it's like being an employee. And then when you're an employee, you have to kind of do what the employer says. And so one of the things my brother and I always wanted to do, and what we're doing right now, is at least maintaining a majority control of what we're doing, because there's certain things that we want to say in certain ways we want to communicate that we don't want anyone to be able to sit us down and put us in the corner and tell us that we can't say this or do this.
Because
You know,
the urbans could get, let's say the urbans, I mean, just really just takes, and it starts taking away from some other shows that got that machine behind them. That's another form of bullying too. Hey, we want y'all to go ahead and, you know, we like this, you know, show doing great, you know, but we need y'all to, it's killing us over here.
Yeah, you have to be able to deal with people. You can't expect people to come and fix your problems. You have to be able to look people in their face. You have to be able to deal with people in environments and yeah, like we were saying, that was something that we grew up in there. I grew up in a neighborhood where kids was all over the place and kids was coming from distances or whatever, and we all get together, and if you couldn't hang, you was just dead meat, really. It wasn't no but it's the same thing. It's the same thing when you get older, whatever. You're gonna run across those problems. Those problems are gonna always be present. And people respect you when you know how to deal with it, you know how to handle it, whether they're above you or not. They can be above you. But if they know that if they know that you know how to handle certain situations, then at least they're going to respect you, and they're not going to try to take advantage of you the way that they would somebody else who's been sheltered like that.
But what you were saying, you know, a company will work with you. It's kind of, if you can't beat them, join them type of thing, and you don't want to really, you know, it is a business. So if a big company sees that you're doing something, you just go to the table. You know, you work something out that'll be a benefit to both of you. But you want to keep your creative control, and you want to keep the majority of what you can say and do. You want to do that.
Your finances, like we own the Urbans. My brother and I is 50-50. There's nobody else in between my brother and I. That's how we want to keep it.
That's dope.
Now we might have to we might come across situations to where as a big guy, it'd be like this and that or whatever. And so we'll play the cards right, you know, and try to keep it, or going to keep the majority state. You know, we're not going to let anybody bully us.
That's what's up.
I don't know if that's what we're coming to.
One of the questions I do have is, I always ask people these questions when we're talking about whether they're product or service or what have you. What is the lesson that people are going to take away? What's the lesson takeaway for the Urbans that people are going to get?
Well, if you're talking about within the episodes, it's each.
Like, I know you talked about how this show's gonna make people think it's not necessarily, if they turn the TV down, you wouldn't think it was a comedy. There's certain different things that's gonna play out within this episode, but there's always something that you can learn from a show.
That this type of show can work.
Okay.
That you don't always have to. We keep our toes down. You don't have to follow everybody else, because the Urbans isn't following, especially our culture. It's not really following what you see our culture really doing. They're gonna learn that if you work hard enough, you can do it, because my brother and I financed it, we wrote it, we directed it, we produced it. I don't want to name all of the hats, you know, that we wore, but if you're determined to do something, you can get it done, and you can do it your way. like I said, we put out material that's gonna make our people look good, and it's gonna make you proud. You don't have to put in the Urbans and cringe if it's playing next to a Seinfeld or a room full of people, room full of respectable people. You don't have to cringe when you put in the Urbans. You can put the Urbans in and say, look, this is done by a couple of guys, a couple of black dudes, intelligent, and it holds up against anybody's work that's really out there. And so be proud of you, be proud of yourself, and strive for excellence, and don't bend to what you see everybody else doing. We don't ride along with other people.
Now let's talk about the cast real quick. The cast that you have for the Urbans, why them particular actors and actresses? What did you see in them, and how did they line up with the characters that you wrote? What did you see, and why this particular cast?
Well, they all have comedic timing.
Right.
That's the one thing that, Clifton Powell has comedic timing. Donnell Rollins and Rodney Perry, obviously.
He shows up. We got him in there for like a minute, like 2 minutes.
Yeah, Donnell Rollins.
Yeah, we got Donnell Rollins in. Ashley Larry came in for a hot second and dip. But he's in there. He did a great scene too.
Tyler Craig, great comedian. Tyler Craig was a famous comedian. Famous comedian that was mostly an underground comedian that was on his way to really taking off. And unfortunately, we lost him before the show came out. But he's in 2 of the episodes. Phenomenal comedian. Bo Micadelic, comedian. Swift Rice, comedian. You won't know it by watching the show.
Rodney Perry, regular.
Yeah, but we select them. Some people, we just threw our hat in the ring, like trying to get Clifton. Our friends, we have friends that are comedians, and so they're in close proximity. So we can usually get at, or we'll get our rep to reach out to certain people. But when you write a script or an episode, in your head, you can kind of, when you're writing, you kind of look at like, okay, who could come close to this, and then you'll see someone, and then you look at their style. Like I'd never seen Rodney Perry act before, but I knew he was a great comedian. And so when we wrote the script for the second episode or whatever, the episode was already written, but then I had to go watch the movies that he was in with Tyler Perry. He was in Medea's Family Reunion or something like that.
Medea's Big Happy Family with.
Yeah, he was one of the main characters in there. So I looked at it, and then from looking at his range, it kind of told me how to rearrange the writing that we had, because you got to kind of custom make the writing for the specific person, like kind of what my brother was talking about earlier. One person can't deliver a line the same way another person.
Right.
So, yeah, we would have an actor or something in mind after the script is written, and then we would kind of, it depends, we would sift through like different reels and look at different entertainment companies, and then we'll look at comedians, and there's not really a formula to finding them. We just end up finding people, just by looking for them.
I love the honesty, bro. I love the honesty. Some people give these wild ass answers, but I just love the honesty, man. There ain't no formula with this.
Not always, man. A lot of times, man, we can have a script, and then if somebody said that if we're able to get somebody in, we be like, we'll write a part. We wrote Bernadette Stanison. Once we found out that we could get her, we wrote her in the end of a part, and then we have now we have a couple of scripts for the next season with her that we kind of focused and wrote around her, which we're excited for people to see.
Another thing, as far as what you were saying, is one of the pluses to my brother and I is that we both have excellent memories. So I know comedians that we've seen long time ago that when we're writing, we're like, who would be good as the dude at the door at the so-and-so? You remember Buddy from let's see if we can contact him. I think he'll work. Let's see if we can reach out to his people. So we always remember, and when I look at people's reels, people send us reels. I'm always looking at people's comedy reels. I'm always looking at their acting reels, and it just stays in the memory bank. So when we have certain parts, we reach out to those people.
We remember your reels. When we see your reels, we
may
remember.
not say anything, but we remember who you are. If it's good.
Yeah.
No, if it's bad too, but it goes in the good section if it's good.
When you when creating the Urbans, how was it working on set with everybody? I know when I see when Denzel and Eddie Murphy or Mike Epps, they talk about working on sets a lot, the memories that they have when they created the movie Life, and they were talking about just how funny the stuff was, the environment, the vibe on set was just so awesome. How was the vibe? How was everything working with each other for the first time on Urbans? How was that like?
We don't get to do that. We don't get to have fun like that. Like, I'm behind the camera. I'm checking for the sound. I'm checking to make sure that the lines are correct. We're making sure that everything is in order. We're very micro, even though it doesn't look like it. My brother and I are really doing most of the things on set. So we rarely ever. The only time we get to have fun really is kind of like when it's kind of done. Like, we don't get to, because if something goes wrong, when you have somebody like a Clifton Powell in there, you can't be messing up like that, because he didn't just come in there. That's not your homeboy. Like, you had to pay. Like, now if it's your boy or whatever, and y'all just recording something, okay, if we mess up, I just get you back in here. If you have to get somebody like him back, you're gonna be pawning this and that, and so you have to, no fun.
Hey,
no
man,
it's fun. It's fun afterwards watching it. We chop it up a little bit with the people. I'll be honest. We have a little bit of fun, but not much.
It's brutal, man, because we try to be calm. We're calm and everything, but a lot of times, like when we're on the set, we have to watch everything. The set design, the sound, we have to look at everything. But it doesn't always look like we're paying attention to all of this stuff. So in between shoots and things like that, sometimes the actors try to talk to me, and I'm like, man, I got other shit on my mind. It's hard to tell them, hey, man, look, man, can I get back to you? But it's like looking at all this other, like we're paying attention to almost everything, trying to go over the lines in our head. It's a lot, man. So our enjoyment comes after it's done, edited, and it's being shown, and we have a group of people around there looking at it, laughing at it.
The premiere.
The premiere, right?
We have a good time. We're having a good time at the premiere.
Yeah, we have a blast then.
Real quick, I know we've been on here for over an hour, man. I've actually, I told you we're gonna come on here, have a great time. We're just gonna have a conversation. You know what I mean? That's what it is when you come on the show. I definitely want to get you guys back, but I want to have a question for the kids. What's the message do you have for the kids that are coming up and that are going to who want to come up and do TV, who want to be directors and producers, and they want to do what you're doing, right? What is your message to them?
I got a great one. We on our sets, as far as like if you want to really be in it and you're trying to find like an avenue or way in or whatever, on our sets we always have, a lot of times we have people coming on the sets, that are kind of helping out around. And really, man, you can tell when someone starts to kind of, when a person has a really good energy around you, you kind of want to keep calling those people back. There are certain people that come on the set that just helped us move equipment, that just did, and then they click like on everything on social media. They kind of keep up with you, and they, you just like their energy. We don't say anything, but we notice who those people are. So when you constantly see these people, your circle is gonna get, as you get bigger and bigger, your circle is gonna get smaller and smaller. And the people that you're gonna want to take with you are the people that was rolling with you from the beginning. So we have a lot of there are even actors though. The ones that were very easy to work with at the beginning, and you like their energy and their vibe or whatever, you're gonna always remember those people. But some people come on the set feeling like they don't have to work for it. Some actors want to know how much they're gonna get paid. The one of the main actors is a lady named Langley Cornwell. She's the older white woman in the Urbans, and she does movies on Lifetime. She does movies on Lifetime. She has national commercials. She's good. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about financially. She's good in life. She's retired. She's straight.
Not to put you out, Langley.
She's in good shape. But when I first found her, I was looking through reels online or whatever, and I saw her, and I said to myself, there's no way I'm gonna get this lady. I didn't even know where she lived. I reached out to her. She lived about 2 hours away, something like that. Is it 2 hours?
A little further than that.
Further away. She just loved what she was doing. She loved it, and she came and did it, and money wasn't really the thing to her. So if you don't love it, then she got far because of her love for what she did.
Right. That's probably the number one thing that I would say. Do it because you love it. And I think if you do it because you love it, then that's when you start to really reap the benefits. If you're coming into it to make a dime, I don't know, And also you're gonna come across some heartache if you're in it long enough and you love it. It's gonna be some real serious disappointments. But do it because you love it. And I think that's probably what I would tell any young person, because that way you're gonna be dedicated. If you have to have another job, but you're gonna, have another job at the same time or whatever, but do it because you love it. And I think that's about the best thing that I would tell somebody that was young. And pay attention to detail.
Yeah.
When you're filming, everything matters. It's the little things that other people are skipping over. Believe me, these studios, they're paying attention to what's on the walls. Like my brother was saying, what's in the background, how far away the actors and actresses are away from the wall, the lighting, the colors, the sound. Pay attention to the sound. Pay attention to everything. It's those details that's going to separate you from the other people.
Yeah, because what a lot of people do is they think that they will skimp on the quality, thinking that they're going to need a bigger budget, or when they get to the next level, there's going to be someone there to clean it up for them.
There is no tomorrow.
Major studios want to know if it's built into you. What'd you say?
I said, just like Apollo Creed told Rocky, there is no tomorrow. Do everything like it's today. It's going in front of the executive. When you film this, it's going in front of the biggest executive on the planet. There is no tomorrow.
Now, 3 keys to success.
That was a good way to end it. I'm sorry. I didn't know we was going to keep...
You did give me a nice ending, but I had that question stuck in my head because I usually always end it off with 3 keys, because everybody always gives me a different answer. And I got brothers on the show today, so I'm pretty sure his 3 keys might be different from yours, but I always end it with 3 keys to success.
Well, I'm gonna say there's no tomorrow anyway at the end, so we can go ahead and ask him. I'll just do it again, ain't no problem.
I think I would say hard work, persistence. I think persistence is probably one of the biggest things. Hard work, persistence, and customer service.
Now I've not heard that. Customer service.
That's what makes my brother and I in our other business. That's how we separate ourselves. It's the customer service.
Whew. That's a whole nother conversation.
I say the bag is a myth. I think everybody's going out looking for the bag. We don't live in a world like Mario Brothers where you have coins hanging up. You're grabbing money out of the sky, or you're trying to come up with this scheme. And don't look for the easy way out. You know, we work for everything. We're not out here looking for a specific bag. We're not doing it like that. We're doing it because we love it. We put hard work and dedication into it. And if you look for the easy way out, you easily lose it. I don't know. I don't know a lot of easy ways to do things. I was always taught that to cut grass or to rake up leaves, and I was always taught to work hard. And as a result of it, my brother and I have success, not in just in filming or whatever, but businesses as well. So don't go looking for chasing the bag. Just excel, strengthen yourself, and become the bag, I guess. So do it like that.
And there is no tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow. That's right.
I want to thank y'all for coming on the show. Make sure that you watch the Urbans, available on Roku, Tubi, Amazon Prime.
There you go. Check it out. Inbox us and connect with us at Green Company Pictures, and also the Urban Show. So at Green Company Pictures of the Urban Show, like you said, check out the Urban streaming right now. Amazon Prime, Roku, Tubi, and soon to be on Bounce Networks, Bounce Networks, Brown Sugar app. We got Rodney Perry, Clifton Powell, Bernadette Stannis, and many more. Thank you.
And I'm the main actor. I don't think we even said that in this whole
thing. What?
You know
We didn't. I'm sorry. I do apologize. We just been having a good conversation. I do apologize. Yes, you are the main actor. You know what? Go ahead and take a few minutes and just let's.
I almost forgot that.
Yeah, because we do everything else, we forget. That's all I had to say. I'm the main actor. I'm the main character. The show is based around me.
You are right, and we did not. Man, that's crazy.
Glad we got that out the way, huh?
Well, I mean, you guys were doing. You're directing, you're producing, you're casting, you're script writing, and we forgot one of the most important things is you. The whole show's around you.
And me, a businessman.
That's another good thing. A black businessman. That's something we want to focus on.
Well, you know what? Give me 5 more minutes. You got 5 more minutes?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the main character. I'll make this a whole separate video because we didn't even get to this. So yeah, you are the main character. Let's talk about you. So tell us about the main character of Urbans, the Urbans.
Well, first of all, the Urbans is the nickname for the business owners on Urban Avenue. So the show takes place on a street called Urban Avenue. The business owners around there, it's called the Urbans because if you have a business on Urban Avenue, you're one of the Urbans. So that's what the Urbans is. But it centers around my character, which is Jay Whitman. He's a single man. He runs an upholstery shop. It's a successful upholstery shop. But he's somewhat of an introvert. He doesn't have a lot of friends. He's someone that values his time and he kind of stays to himself. So you're not going to see him, hanging out around a pool table with his boys talking about girls or women. He's not that type of character. He's really kind of to himself. So we use certain characters to bounce off ideas for Jay Whitman, but he's really not much different than my brother and I in real life. We own a successful business. We're somewhat introverts.
You gotta say we're a little more outgoing than that. Maybe just because we're doing the interview.
Yeah, it's because the interview. But we take our time very seriously. Our time is very valuable to us, and we've enjoyed intelligent, thought-provoking conversations, and that's kind of what the character is about. But we didn't do a twin thing; we just used one of us instead of doing that.
Okay.
So that's what the character is, and he's really a brilliant dude. I guess I'm gonna say that because I'm playing the character, but intelligent dude, man, and sometimes he could be a little naive. That's really the difference between me and the character. Or I wouldn't say naive, he'd be a little oblivious to the surroundings. But at other times, he can be very, very well aware. Most of the time, he's very well aware of the surroundings. I mean, I think they do that with every character. Every now and then, you're gonna have any character is gonna kind of look stupid for a second. But that's really the character, man, and I love the character because to me, it's not really much acting going into it. You know, I'm kind of being me, and so you get to see me, you know, dealing with people. You know, how I deal with women. I'm not the same. I'm not fawning over. You know, I'm really a dude with. I have a backbone. You know what I'm saying? I have a backbone and I'm a man.
They don't want to hear that.
You say what? They don't want to hear that?
The women don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear the backbone.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
This will be a viral TikTok video right here.
Yeah, he's
good.
Yeah, let's do that then. But no, he's really a guy that stands on principles. You know, cares about people, but at the same time, you know, not a pushover. He's a solid dude. And the character was someone that, you know, I've been watching TV and it's like I don't really see that dude. You know, every dude that I see, especially in the comedy space, it's just something about them. It's like they're catering to something. Like like my brother was saying earlier, like you're watching the episode and you're like, okay, so his girlfriend has a work husband or something like that, and now he's going up to the job with a shades on, trying to find out who the man is and all this other type of stuff. I don't do stuff like that in real life. You know what I mean? So I don't know these dudes y'all talking about. So that's what my character's like. He's not gonna lie. He's not a liar. Like every sitcom that I see, or a lot of sitcoms, the main character, him and his wife, his lady or whatever, she's always catching him in a lie. It's like my character is not a dude that goes around lying all the time. You know what I'm saying? He might do it every now and then, but it's not a thing for him. So it's just it's those elements that we didn't see that we were like, we want a dude that's got a backbone, who's caring, generous, witty, intelligent, well-rounded, financially straight, drive a tight car, you know, got his life together. We wanted to see that. So it's like, let's make them then.
All right. That's what the women want to hear. Financially straight, drive a nice car.
Jay Whitney a baller, man. Well, I ain't gonna say that. He's blue collar baller.
Okay.
He's a blue collar baller. He works with his hands. He's a man. You know what I'm saying?
You don't work on an oil rig or nothing like that, dude.
Yeah. Dress nice. You know what I'm saying? His gear is nice. He's someone to be proud of, man, on every level.
That's what's up. The Urbans, out right now, Amazon Prime, Tubi, Roku. Make sure you guys go check out the Urbans, man. And, you know, salute these brothers. You know, they could be anywhere in the world right now, but they decided to do something positive, and you can too. You don't have to be in the streets. You don't have to, you know, do something against your moral code and your way you was raised to make money, to earn a living. Live out your dream. That's what these two brothers are doing, living out their dream, working together as a family. So much you can learn from them. For one, they're brothers. They're working together as a family. They're doing something positive, doing something honest, doing something legal, right? And doing something that they love and having fun doing it. So it's not even work for them. You know, y'all getting paid to do something that you love. So do you even look at it as work?
Yeah. Is he talking about the filmmaking part? It's kind of a hard thing. You know what I'm saying? It's you're working for the result. You know what I'm saying? Like when the result isn't money. So it's kind of I don't want it to be misunderstood.
Right. Like, it's the result of people, how they perceive the material and how they enjoy the show.
Right. Yeah, we love it. It's something that we love though. You know, so when you love something, even when you're working, you know, the love that you have for it is going to supersede that. When we see the end product, when we're in the theater, and you know, it's crowded because our last premiere, we had celebrities and everything there. It was a packed house, And when you're sitting there and it's all queued up and the lights go off
That's the moment.
and you watching everybody laugh, like,
That's
hey,
the moment.
you know, that's it right there, man.
That's it.
And then you get to do podcasts, and then people asking you about it. This is rewarding. This is the reward.
That's what's up. That is. I already knew that's the moment right there. All right, fellas. Again, well, thank you. Sorry I kept you. I know I kept you a long time, but I know your time is important. But I definitely appreciated the conversation, man. I loved it. I enjoyed it.
We enjoyed it too, man. We out of here, man. There is no tomorrow.
Take care, guys. Have a good one.
All right, man.
Wake up! God damn it.